In March of 1965, Da Nang became the front door to America's war in Vietnam. 2 battalions of US Marines waited offshore right here, the first combat troops officially sent into the conflict. Da Nang became one of the largest American bases in Southeast Asia, a city within a city, airfields, hospitals, barracks and bars. Thousands of planes took off from here, carrying both hope and destruction. And when the war finally ended, Da Nang was left with scars, both visible and invisible. Today the beaches are calm again. Kids play where soldiers once dug trenches. For me, this isn't just history. The names, the dates, the battles, they aren't just distant stories in the past. They're part of my bloodline. And if you're interested in my personal connection to Vietnam, stay to the end of this video. Please hit that subscribe button and join us as we keep exploring real stories behind real places. Hey guys, we are at the War Memorial Museum here in Da Nang. This is the main one here, and we're going to revisit the Vietnam War, what it meant for the people of Vietnam and also what it meant for people in the West. In the heart of Da Nang, far from the beaches where soldiers once landed, stands a quiet place of remembrance, the Ho Chi Minh Museum. And spoiler alert guys, if you're planning to come here, don't go any further, jump straight to my story at the end. It's more than just a museum, it's a time capsule. A story told through rusted vehicles, faded photos, and the faces of generations who believed they were fighting for something greater than themselves. Here the narrative shifts. The Vietnam War isn't told through the lens of American soldiers or Western history books. It's told through Vietnamese eyes, through the struggle of families, farmers and revolutionaries who saw war as a fight for independence. Walking through the museum grounds, you'll see tanks and helicopters left behind after the fighting stopped, artefacts frozen in time. But step inside, the tone changes. The air feels heavier, filled with reverence for Ho Chi Minh, the man they called Uncle Ho. His letters, his photos, his words, they all speak of unity, of sacrifice and resilience. This place doesn't glorify war, it remembers it. It tells you that even in the chaos of war, people were still dreaming of peace. Standing here, I think about my own connection to the war and how different our stories are, yet how deeply they intertwine. 2 sides of the same history, now standing quietly under the same sky. G'day guys, we are down on the beach on another balmy, wet day. Actually the waves are looking pretty good out there, so for you surfers, forget Bali man, come down here in Da Nang, Vietnam. The surf's looking really good. I'll get some shots for you later, but anyway, we're here to talk about something pretty serious, and it's actually something I've never really spoken about. So I'm going to share this with you guys. The story that I'm going to share is that 3 generations of men in my family were involved in war. What's really surreal is my father was an American soldier. He was a liaison officer during the Vietnam War. The war absolutely devastated him and many other young men. he was a dysfunctional human being. He was a very disturbed human being, and I never had a proper relationship with my dad. And I can say that about my grandfather. I never actually met my granddad because he passed away from war injuries. He was a German soldier, and I guess the point that I'm making is that unfortunately on my side of the family, I was never able to have a relationship with 3 generations of men, including my father, my grandfather and great-grandfather, all devastated by war. And I'm the first generation to not go to war, including my brothers as well. I remember when I was young, I did try and enroll in the army like an idiot. I was young. And the funny thing is, I told them that I'd smoked dope, and they didn't accept that. I said, oh, you know, I didn't say I was a dope smoker. I just said I'd tried marijuana, and I got rejected from the army, which was an awesome thing because I would have ended up in the Gulf War. I would have ended up into some nasty conflicts that really are none of my damn business, you know. We shouldn't be getting involved in these wars. So that was a stroke of luck, I guess. A bit of stupidity that turned into a stroke of luck. And the irony is that I ended up choosing to shoot with a camera and not with a gun all my life. I've been a filmmaker for now 30 years. So here I am in Vietnam, thinking about what this war did to this country, and you can still feel it. You know, to me, I can still feel the damage that war did to this country, and I think they're only just coming out of it, man. And you know, and when I talk about the war, and I mention that my father was fighting with the Allied forces, I have nothing but deep respect for both sides. So just make that perfectly clear. So yeah, it's been a very somber, surreal experience living here, knowing what happened to this place in my lifetime. I was a young boy, very young. I was 2 years old when the conflict was still going. And the history there was my father was an American soldier. He was based in Frankfurt, Germany, and that's where he met my mother. She was German. So that's where I was actually born in Germany, and then after the Vietnam War, they migrated to Australia because the American soldiers were getting slagged on in America, the irony there as well. So not only did they come here and serve, but when they went back to America, they got treated like absolute garbage and got spat on, literally. So the parents decided to move out to Australia, and I was 2 or 3 years old when we migrated from Germany. So I am a migrant to Australia as well. And I've always felt I was just a visitor to that country. I love Australia. It did a lot, you know, gave a lot to me. But again, I always, especially as a filmmaker, I always had a lens looking into that country. And I always felt like I was just a visitor there. So yeah, my heritage, born in Germany, half German, half American, but Australian most of my life. And yeah, that's the family history there in a nutshell. So the point that I'm making is that all of these wars have done nothing but devastate, especially the males in each generation. And it didn't just stop at the person who was fighting in the war. It actually, you know, that curse passed down to the generations, to the kids, because the kids weren't able to have a functioning relationship with their fathers. And that's just a reality, a fact of life. I bring this topic up not because I want to be controversial, it's because I have a close connection with what happened to this place. I have a lot of compassion and a lot of sorrow for what happened, and I don't think we should ever forget about it, and we need to remind ourselves what these conflicts do and how they affect generations. And we need to stay away from war, and we need to avoid it as much as we can. We need to stop buying into the mainstream propaganda that fuels unnecessary conflict around the world. Because at the end of the day, it's about money and power, and something that we don't get a part of. You don't get any benefits from war. Only a handful get to benefit from war. So I just wanted to make it perfectly clear that anything that I say is really just my opinion. I'm definitely no expert around a lot of the conflicts. I'm just learning and discovering as we go along and trying to share those experiences with you. So, you know, I try and steer away from being opinionated at all. I like to discover and work these things out myself, and I do it with a compassionate and understanding and caring heart, and I hope you can see that as well. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Again, please hit the subscribe button. We need you. And do us a favour, everyone, hit that subscribe button. It's the best way you can support us right now. And if you want the updates on the latest releases, hit the bell button there for the notifications.